Hi, I'm Jonathan. Welcome to the Photographer Academy, and today we're going to be talking about the kit that I use for taking food photography shots. So the camera gear we're going to be using today, we've got a DSLR camera, we've got a couple of lenses, some flash, tethering cables and some batteries that I use. So I'll just quickly go through this. In this particular instance, I'm using a Canon 6D. It's got a battery pack on it. It's a full frame camera. And I test drove this alongside the Canon 5D III at the time, which was the latest. I took it to a restaurant, I rented one of these, and at the end of the day, I didn't actually see a massive improvement for the extra £1,000 I was going to spend on the 5D III. So I thought I'll plump for the 6D. It's pretty good in low light, which I shoot a lot. With it being a full frame camera, when I patch it up with a 24mm lens, I'm actually getting the full 24, whereas in a crop sensor in Canon, it's a 1.6 crop. So you don't get the benefit of the wide angle lens. The resolution is really high in this, so you can get really top quality prints that you put into a magazine, and they have the ability to blow up the image to full poster sizes without any issues. As far as lenses are concerned, I have a 24-70 f4, which is kind of a main staple lens that I use for most things. Other people use more prime lenses, because they're doing specifically just food, where I do restaurants and other things where I need some more flexibility in my lens. Some really tight shots that I'll use, and I have the L series 2.8 macro lens, 100mm macro. And most of the time, these are the bits of kit that I use. One of the biggest things that I would say, getting into anything in photography, doesn't matter so much about the body that you use, but if you get really good lenses, really good glass, it's a hell of an investment. You'll have the lenses long after you get rid of the camera body, because these are basically computers in here. Computers get outdated really quickly. Lenses are glass. Mostly they stay the same. They'll stick around for years. For flash, I'm using a couple of speed lights. In this case, it's the old 580. Basically, batteries go in, light comes out. You don't necessarily need the newest, fanciest kit. They do a lot of Yongnuo stuff, which is really cheap, so that's a good way of getting into it. So I'm going to use two of these inside an Octa. I'm going to be firing it with the Yongnuo radio triggers. These just slot onto the speed light like that, turning these, what were just optical flashes, into radio flashes. Then I have the transmitter, again from Yongnuo, which I'll be slotting into the hot shoe. This triggers the flashes, and I can turn the power up and down right from camera. I'm going to be shooting tethered today. This is a Tether Tools cable with the jerk stopper. I'm using that today, connecting to my laptop, and we can get a much better view of the image on the screen, much better than you can on any LCD. And for batteries, inside this little nifty battery case, I'm using Eneloop batteries. Rechargeable, these things are brilliant. I shoot restaurants and I get anywhere between 500 and 700 shots from 4 batteries inside the speed lights, no external battery power. So when we're shooting the natural light, sometimes the light isn't as bright as you want it, and your ISO is going to get up really high in order for you to get a good exposure. So that's when I lock down on a tripod. This particular one is a Manfrotto 055, and it has a center column which actually comes out horizontal, so we can actually shoot over the top, which is a handy little feature. But that allows me then to drop my ISO and get a longer shutter speed, gathering the natural light that I need to get the shot, to get the exposure that I like. And you'll be surprised at how low that light can be, and you'll get a beautiful glow, a beautiful summery look to the light, because you're locked on a tripod and maybe you'll need a second exposure. But that's not something you can do handheld. Generally speaking, for handheld, I would say, for me anyway, it's about a 60th of a second is the slowest shutter speed that I will handhold at. With the image stabilization that I have on some of these lenses, I have actually dropped it down to about a 13th of a second, and I've still got a sharp shot, but that kind of takes some practice. But the image stabilization on these lenses, modern lenses, is phenomenal, and you can actually get an extra stop of light in there by slowing down the shutter speed beyond 1/60th, slower than that, and gives you some flexibility. So I also want to talk about the kit that you might not be aware of, and this is the styling kit that we use for a lot of our food photography on our blog. We'll talk about different types of bowls and plates. This particular things are handmade in Shropshire by friends of ours, but they're all very different. You can buy them online, so something very unique, very different. These are the things we use for styling, gives a very different feel to the food photography. We have painted backgrounds. We actually create these ourselves. You can buy some online. All of these you can have in different colors. Different colors will represent different feels for different styles of shots. We have textiles such as this. Linens are really popular for us because you get that nice wrinkly texture and you get all sorts of colors, many of which that you can buy online just about anywhere. And we have various different pieces of cutlery. Spoons, knives and forks, which we collect from various places that we go to. You can go to car boot sales and you'll go to antique stores, things like that. You can get the plain ones, which are very muted, like this one, where there's actually no glow, no reflection on it, which is really handy when especially when you're doing above shots, where you get the reflection of yourself in the spoon itself. And then you're looking for extra little patinas like these have, where they have that aged look, and it just brings a little bit of texture and character to the shots. All of which, when you add it all together, that's what will give you the great food photography shots that you're after. So that sums up the outline of the kit that I use for food photography. I hope that's given you some ideas about what kit you may already have that you can use for this, and things that you could look out for to purchase, which will help you get better shots in the end. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.